out to Kevin Green now, who joins me just for a look at some of this data that we've got this morning. Obviously, challenger jobs looked okay. We've got the jobless claims as well. We got 213K on the headline. Just talk us through the details of that, how important that is, and what that means now moving forward, KG.
So for the Challengers job cut, they actually announced 48,307 jobs that were cut in the month of February. Now that's actually down around 55% from the January print, but the January print was also very strong here. You are still seeing some weakness in certain pockets of the market, as well as a lack of a desire for a lot of these companies to actually hire more as well. So that's something to just keep on the radar. Actually, some of the jobs that we did see getting cut are in the professional space, and you are seeing a lot of the comments from the respondents around artificial intelligence and their ability to find some efficiencies and make their companies a little bit more lean. So from the challenger standpoint, which is a very volatile number on a month-over-month basis, it does signify that we are seeing a little bit of a deceleration in these job cuts. But if you're looking at the initial claims, they were actually better than the street's expectations, coming in at 213,000. Street was looking for 215,000. Now, continuing claims did actually inch up here a tad bit. So if you are seeing some individuals that are on insurance claims at this point in time, it might take them a little bit longer for them to actually find a new job here. So from the economic data standpoint, everything actually looked for the most part okay. You did see a little bit of a hot print when it came to non-farm productivity. That came in at 2.8%. Street's looking for 1.9%. That's really an inflationary gauge and a wage gauge. So we'll keep our eye out on that one. Unit labor costs also came in a little bit hot. So I would say mixed at best. On the inflation front, a little bit hotter than what you would expect. And we are seeing the 10-year yield move to the upside, not only because of the geopolitical risk and oil moving higher, which obviously we have that risk of inflation, but also maybe some of the services inflation that has been kind of permeating between the ISM services data, as well as the S&P 500 or S&P global services PMI data as well.
All right, so let's talk about jobless claims real quick, right? What's key here is, I think, we talked about unemployment at the end of 2025 going up. I think it went as high as 4.5, 4.6%. And what we're seeing artificial intelligence impact the job market at a significant rate, and it's only getting worse depending on how you look at it. Worse from the employee, but better for the company, and then also better from an investment perspective, right? So long term, it's important that we understand where jobs is going, the sectors that are being impacted when it comes to artificial intelligence, and the job cuts that we keep seeing that's being announced across the board on so many different companies, right? So 2026 job cuts announcement, right? And this is some of the companies that are laying off jobs, right? Pinterest is laying off around 800. Autodesk is laying off 1,000. Meta has reported they're laying off 10% of the reality labs within their business. UPS is cutting up to 30,000 operational roles, while the Dow is cutting 4,500. And we just seen that Jack Dorsey announced that he was cutting 50% of his overall workload of employees that work for his company Block, right? And that was announced, I believe, a week or two ago. So we are seeing huge layoffs across the board with many different companies using either robotics when it comes to, Amazon and their factories and some of their, warehouses, as well as these technology companies that no longer need the amount of employees due to the AI, due to technology, and due to artificial intelligence, as well as robotics across the board. So that tells us from a employee standpoint that we need to be very, very strategic about the type of jobs that we currently have, looking at what AI can potentially take from us, right? Looking at automation, how that impacts drivers, if that's truck drivers, if that's Uber and Lyft and taxi drivers, if that's robotics when it comes to Tesla, Amazon, even Walmart, right? Some of these distribution centers. It's very important that we understand that the next year, 2 to 5 years, there are going to be significant changes to the job force across the board. So it's key that if you are a current worker, that you are excellent at your job, that even in a situation that you possibly are excellent, there is a possibility that you could even lose your job in this AI technology run up that we've had over the last couple years. Right. So investing is so important. Having multiple streams of income is so important. Being able to invest in the stock market, but also into real estate and having your own business, being an entrepreneur is also something that's very paramount right now as we continue to move forward. So it's key. And then last but not least, when it comes to your children, let me just say this. As a parent, as a father, I must set up my children for success when it comes to their future and ultimately when it comes to what types of career paths that they take. It's key. I know that sometimes we talk about, in certain communities, no, we don't want to dictate. We don't want to, push them in certain fields. Listen, no, you have to look at the job structure of things, look at the macroeconomic and the macro dynamics going across the board when it comes to different sectors. We know that healthcare is going to be an amazing, continuing to be amazing moving forward. We know technology, math, science will always be something of a necessity and something that we will need at a high level, right? But some of these other jobs, some of these other, coding and some of these other software technology kind of, computeristic kind of jobs that we've had in the past, a lot of those jobs being taken from artificial intelligence and robotics is coming for the entry level warehouse distribution call center kind of position. Those things are going away. So be mindful of what's going on right now, how that impacts you personally, how that impacts your children, and then how that then impacts obviously investing in the market.
Okay, something to consider. Obviously, we've seen that backing out of rate cuts this year off the back of the renewed tension over in the Middle East as well. How does that all set us up for tomorrow's jobs report, KG? And is that backwards looking, given obviously some of the renewed worries around the potential for this stagflationary environment?
It is. The market's looking at non-farm payrolls of a growth of around 58,000. And actually on the private payrolls, we were looking for growth of around 65,000. So we're looking for a little bit of reduction when it comes to the government workers. That also could be a little bit of residual when it comes to the government shutdown. This also could actually be a very volatile print. January was a volatile print. February could also be a volatile print because we also had some winter effects taking place as well. And so we could actually have a situation where the amount of non-farm payrolls being added for the month might come in a little bit lighter, but if that's because of one-off seasonal effects, the market may shrug that off. A lot of this economic data is kind of taking to back seat because of the news flow that we are seeing on a day-by-day basis when it comes to the geopolitical risk, but we haven't seen any type of meaningful fracturing when it comes to the unemployment rate or when it comes to the private sector jobs that are being added, at least for now. And if we actually do see that being reflected in the data tomorrow, Sam, that could also maybe lead the Fed to consider cuts a little bit more aggressively, even though we have maybe some inflationary headwinds in the near term.